Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. In today's episode, I wanted to talk on a comment that I seen on a podcast episode that I posted not too long ago. By the way, I'm just wanting to let y'all know, regarding my podcast, if some episodes get posted a little bit later, I don't know what's going on with Spotify, but that's how I publish my podcast episodes is through them. So, backstory, Spotify had bought Anchor.fm. That's what it was originally called before. And yeah, it just seems like since then there's been a lot of issues. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, there might be some days where episodes get posted a little bit later, like the episode today, for an example, talking about DayZ. So yeah, if you guys notice, like instead of, well, usually I do try to post episodes on like on the Spotify platform itself, like as soon as possible, like at midnight and stuff, or right after I'm done doing the late night stream. But yeah, for some reason it was just acted up, so I was like, the website wasn't even loading, so that's what I had to do was open the website up in an incognito tab. And then, yeah, then it was working perfectly fine. And I'm like, fam, I just don't get it. Like, it shouldn't make a difference. Like, it's like, just open up. You open up in the incognito tab. I gotta look into that type of stuff, because I'm like, that just don't even make no sense. But, anyways, no, I wanted to talk on this comment, though. I'm like, now that that's been put to the side, yeah, let's get to talking about this comment on me holding a grudge towards my biggest hater. And the thing is this, I know people would like to think that I am holding a grudge, and I feel like I would have my reasons. And you know what? Here's the thing. I feel that people will try to misunderstand what I'm saying or overall try to twist my words. Here's the thing. I don't care for doing content with him. I don't care for being friends with him. I don't care for being being cool with them. I don't want nothing to do with him. I think I have made that extremely clear over the years. But his fans a lot of the times like to infiltrate my streams, infiltrate my comment sections. They like to try to lie on my name and run with stories that are fictional. Here's the thing. Again, I feel like I would have my reasons to hold a grudge towards him. But it's not in me to have hatred, hold grudges, or all that stuff. I know that he's not right in the head, and I feel like what's best for me is to keep my distance from people like him. He has a lot going on. I don't want that in my life. I already got a lot on my plate. Why do I need his problems? And it really goes all the way back to 2016 when he tried to work with me in the first place. And I'm like, fam, The funny thing is, I couldn't see the person that he was becoming, but I can sense it. I can sense that something is not right about this guy. At the time, I didn't know exactly what it was, but I was like, fam, I know that it wouldn't be good for me to be in some sort of partnership with this guy. For one, I'm like, I have a content creating career to maintain. I'm not trying to have it where it gets thrown away due to his ill way of thinking about certain topics and situations and stuff. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not trying to have it where, and it's funny because when you look at a lot of the people that he was cool with over the years, either he has cut them off or they've cut him off. Because there was the one guy, what was his name? It was some black dude that he was cool with. Not his roommate, but it was another guy that he would have him come to my comment sections. I think his name was Shady Durags. I think that was his name. But anyways, but yeah, that was one guy where and I think he's doing all right for himself as a content creator. I don't know how he is, I guess, outside of content creating. But yeah, for content creating, I think he's doing a lot better than my biggest hater and stuff. But no, I do remember at times, and I just think that was one of those partnership friendships. That wasn't no friendship like, hey, this is somebody that I would invite to my wedding. This would be somebody that, I would go to it for advice and all this stuff. No, he he just only wants to work with him and use his name for clout. And that goes for both sides. So it's like, yeah, you know, the do-rags guy was doing the same to him, and then yeah, my biggest hater was doing the same to him. And that's the thing, friendships like that, they don't last. And that's why when you seen when he got canceled, that guy didn't jump to his defense. Nobody else didn't jump to his, the only person that jumped to his defense, and guess what his goal was? All he wanted to do was go viral in this situation. And he did. He went viral for all the wrong reasons, talking about that Vincent Martin guy. So my thing is this. Why is it a problem, I guess, with me if I don't want to be cool with this guy? You know, and I think that's what a lot of his fans are trying to force upon me. Like, they're trying to force me to be cool with them. Fam, I have no reasons to be cool with him. You know, I got friends. I got family. I don't need people like him in my life. So, it's just, I find it funny how people would like to run up and say that I am holding a grudge. And I guess in a way, if people want to, you know, paint that picture, then yeah, sure, fine, I'm holding a grudge. I guess with me, I really don't care about titles and sayings and, you know, I guess like the overall summary of the story and stuff when it regards our story. And, you know, if people want to make me out as the villain, fine, make me out as the villain. If you want to say that I'm holding a grudge, fine, say that I'm holding a grudge. Whatever it is, it's that area of the internet there. I don't really care for what's being said about my name. And I think I had established that back in 2020 where I was like, hey, whatever you guys say, whatever you guys do, you could go ahead and say and do whatever you want. I've gotten to a point now where I'm content with who I am as a content creator, and I have no reasons to be more so to defend myself. You know, I ain't gonna say that I was upset, but I will say that yes, I was having to defend myself a lot when it came down to you know, situations involved with my biggest hater. But overall though, yeah, it just got to a point where I was all like, enough is enough. You know, like, I've defended myself. I said what I needed to say. What more needs to get added to this? You know, the story ended a long time ago. I just think that people are wanting more, but I'm like, there's nothing more to be said or done. There's nothing more that can happen. I guess, you know, like, yeah, we could do like a aftermath story, and I think that's what's going on now. He's being canceled, but I feel like that was kind of always something that people knew. You know, like, it wasn't like news to them. People always knew that he was going to get canceled at one point in time. I think they were just waiting for the time and moment for him to get canceled. But I mean, when you look at who he was as a person back then, I mean, like, just even when I had sat down and I took the time to watch the videos that he did about me, and I just feel like that was the craziest part about the whole, like, all the different things that he said about me was when he criticized me on processing a childhood friend's death. And I'm thinking to myself, you can't tell a person how to act when their friend done died, somebody that they grew up with, you know, like, and that's one of those things where I'm like, and this is the person that y'all wanted me to be cool with. You wanted me to take advice from him and have him all associated with my channel. Meanwhile, he can't even respect the idea, not even the idea, but he can't respect the fact that I just lost a friend of mine. So that's why I'm like, yeah, people like that. It's funny how I didn't see that video at the time being, but then seeing it years later, I'm like, man, that was even dodging a bullet. That was dodging a whole nuke. Like, that was one of those things where I'm like, man, I am forever thankful that I did not accept no deals, no offers, nothing with him. And like I said before, I'm like, I would have rather quit content creating than to do any form of, like, you know, work for him, with him. I have no reason, I guess, to sell myself short as a content creator, you know? So yeah, I'm like, it's one of those things where when I look at all of the options that's on the table for being a content creator, yeah, I think I would have rather have quit, been some bigger content creator's editor. I think I would have rather have been somebody's camera person. What else? You know, there's a lot of different things that I would do as a content creator, but taking any advice any work, just being associated with my biggest hater. No, I didn't even want to even have this drama going for as long as it did. And I had to say, that's probably the only thing that I will never be able to take back. And it's probably going to go on for another 10 years. The fact that it's been going on for 10 years, I mean, people, you have to understand that it's not me that's holding a grudge. Where when you look at how I carry myself in my videos and in my podcast episodes and any form of content that I'm doing, yes, I will call him out on stuff from time to time. I will call him out on his racism. And by the way, speaking of that, so somebody had sent me a picture of his Twitter account, and it was a screenshot of pretty much how could I put it in words? I don't know if it was something that he made, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if he made it. I mean, you know, when you say things like, oh, one of your, because it's either one of his or is his favorite movie, American History X, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, when you've been called out for a racist on numerous occasions by myself, by others, and then videos being made about you and your audience being racist, you come out and say, oh, one of my favorite movies is American History X, where it's the main point of the whole movie is talking on racism. One of your first videos on the internet is of you defending the Confederate flag. Your audience is racist. I done heard some situations of you being racist, and then you post a picture of your avatar with, I think it was a bunch of swastikas. My thing is this, you know, if I'm trying to beat some allegations, like I'm trying to think of some, let's say like the me being a sneakerhead, right? Let's say that those were allegations surrounding me. People are calling me out as this, and they were like, oh, you got too many sneakers. I'm not going to post a picture of sneakers and be like, oh, look, a pair of sneakers or whatever he said in the tweet and things. I'm going to make sure of it that people don't know that I'm a sneakerhead if I am a sneakerhead. But I guess if I am not a sneakerhead, that I will do any and everything that I possibly can to clear my name. I feel like that, yes, in some situations and cases, you do need to clear your name. And I feel like with the racism, if that's the one thing that's keeping you from being this big content creator, you might need to clear up those allegations. But posting tweets of your avatar, and then that was another thing too, like the whole blackfacing thing where he made his avatar black, then he was trying to go around and say he was black, and I'm like, the way that you carry on the internet, black people don't act like that. There's like them rare ones where I feel like that they forget that they're black, but yeah, black people don't act like you. I'm sorry to break that news to you, but yeah, it's you could go to a lot of different you could go to them black areas, like hood black areas, you could go to like them suburban black areas. I'm trying to think of some other, you know, like, yeah, like the fam, not even Carlton Banks acted like you. He acted more black and blacker than you. But anyways, overall though, but yeah, getting back to the racism allegations and all that stuff, yeah, you should try to beat that. But at the same time, when you're posting pictures of your avatar with a bunch of swastikas around him and stuff, I mean, how can one, why, my thing is this, right? And swastikas ain't really more so used, like I had to say, it was like KKK, stuff like that. I don't feel like swastikas was really used for, then again, I'm like, it is a, you know, considered a racist symbol. I know people would like to argue and be like, oh, it wasn't like that before. Yeah, but when we're talking on what swastikas was, what they once was before, that's not what it's being looked at now. So it's like, if that's what his argument is going to be, oh, I'm using it for its original terms and stuff. There's no such thing as using the swastika for its original terms. Well, we're in the year of 2026, and a swastika means something extremely racist. So that's why I'm like, I'm not hearing that. You know, the thing is this, everything that I've been through, yeah, he ain't going to try to convince me that he ain't racist. I'm like, no, there's no way possible. And then, yeah, that's just, my thing is this, that's just more being added to his files of him being a racist, you know, and it'll probably be in a matter of time before people start calling him out on his racism. But yeah, overall though, why would I want to associate myself? I feel like that was the original question I was going to ask. Why would I want to associate myself with somebody like that? You know, where it's like, you can't even have the respect of not posting racist things, but of course he's going to try to claim it's his autism and all. So your autism is racist? When has there ever been, you know, hold on for a second. Let's just talk on that real quick. when has autism had like racist traits? Like you, like that's something where I feel like he would try to say that. So I'm like, what form of autism makes you racist? Like I don't think I've ever heard of that. I've heard of where people, they'll have like, you know, mental disabilities, they have some disadvantages in life, but autism that makes you racist, that sounds, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, there probably is a lot of racist people out there that probably do have some sort of autism, but that ain't something, you know, I guess used as an excuse. Like you can't use autism as an excuse. So, oh, this is why I call people the N-word and post pictures of swastikas and all these other different things. Yeah, no, I'm not hearing that. You know, it's like, I feel like that I've studied racism enough to know that autism has never, you know, autism and racism don't have no links. They don't have no connections. So that's why I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm not hearing that, you know. But overall though, you know, again, I still don't have a reason to hold a grudge towards him. I know people will probably be all like, oh, well, why is it that you don't want to do nothing with them? Well, I mean, look at him. You know, if that's my thing is this, there's a bunch of different things that you can post throughout the day, right? There's a bunch of different things that you can post. You could post about what's going on in your life. You can post how you're trying to improve yourself. You could post on how you're trying to change your content and be a better person. You decide to double down on the racism, you know, surrounding you. Why my thing is this, maybe my thing is this, maybe if he actually showcased that he was trying to be a better person, maybe, just maybe, that there would be some sort of line of respect heading his way. But that's the thing, he hasn't done or shown any reasons on why a person should give him respect, you know. So yeah, I have to say that I feel like if anything, yes, I'm definitely gonna do that. I feel like that's something that I can't hide behind or say that it's not happening. Yeah, he's always gonna get disrespect from me, but as far as anything else, yeah, you know, like I guess like holding grudges and all that stuff, I'm like, I guess if people want to paint that picture, you can if you want to, but I mean, I just think that, you know, realistically, people like that aren't good for your, you know, your lifestyle where you're trying to be a good person. And that's overall what I'm just trying to do in my life. I'm just trying to, you know, leave this world and think to myself, yes, I was a good person. But I feel like having people like that, that's always going to be that stain in your life where it's like, okay, you're questioning whether or not were you a good person? Because if so, why are people like that in your life? You know, like I would imagine that people would see my point, but if not, then I'm like, yeah, you know, there's still a lot of learning that these individuals need to, you know, to do and stuff. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on podcast streaming service. And peace.